Hey, what's up? This is Paul Soltz, and I want to talk about my upcoming iPhone app, Brew Coffee. So this is a pour-over recipe app. It's designed just for Hario V60 and Chemex. Those are the two methods that I brew on a regular basis. This is what that process looks like. So I am testing out some new recipes, trying out James Hoffmann's recipe that uses 15 grams of coffee. Everything I do, I weigh on a scale, so it's going to look something like this. I just did back-to-back brews, and that looked like this. So this was me cupping. I ran out of things to put it in, so I started putting it in some wine glasses, but this, I can assure you, is coffee. So this is sort of me tasting out. The first one I did, the pour wasn't great. It ended up going 1 minute and 15 seconds over. So it was super bitter, super astringent, over extracted. It was still drinkable. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't the reason I make pour over. Then I tried it again. I really tried to be a little bit more mindful in the pours. Some of the timings sort of caught me off guard. I was just trying to follow along for the first time. Anytime you try a new recipe, it's a little bit difficult. And I got it down so that it was 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So that's 45 seconds over pour. Definitely tasted better, but not great compared to what I brewed this morning. And then I did two other pours. Actually, I did three other pours. So after that one, I did one where it ended in 3 minutes and 5 seconds. And this was based on a video I just watched. I had never seen this barista before, but I was doing research and I came across him. And he talked about how the fines could be clogging up your filter. So if we go back to that video, you're going to see the residue on the sides. And so that like sludge can really obstruct the brew. And so this is the one where I actually tried a new technique of just putting a spoon at the top as I'm pouring to basically push the coffee horizontally instead of making a jet stream down. And that actually doesn't agitate the bed as much. And it dramatically improved the drawdown time, which I wasn't really expecting. So that was kind of an exciting development of just a different technique, gave me a totally different result using the same James Hoffmann recipe. So I think there is some real value in figuring out how you are causing a lot of turbulence into the bed of coffee. So that was a really cool like science experiment. And I will say that my normal brew method with my coffee app still tastes better. I did a 21 gram brew and I tried it once without the spoon method and once with the spoon method. And both my wife and I liked it way better with this spoon method. So there's definitely some value in it. This app, what I love about it is that it guides me through the process. So doing it on paper, like you see here, definitely helpful like the first time you're trying out something. But if you can use an app that's got all of the settings, the timings, it's got sound effects so that you know you're on track, and like a pacer, it's so much more helpful. So if I were to just show what this looks like, I'll just start it up and I'll put it in front of me so that we can focus on it. You're going to see that it's going to guide us through the process. It's going to tell us what weight to pour for, in this case, the bloom. And then as we wait, once we get up to 30 seconds, it's going to take us through the full recipe. And so what I'm trying to determine is like, what are good recipes, and can I turn James Hoffmann's recipe into a recipe in my app? Are the results I'm getting worth the effort? And I think it would be a lot better if I just did it in the app. So this is the app working. Now it's giving me a pace to pour at, which isn't a big number. You can't miss it. Makes it super useful. So I'm working on having multiple pour stages. My traditional recipe that I've used for the past, 10 years has been just a pacer, and I don't worry about the number of pours. I know a lot of people want that functionality, and so that's one of the things that I want to update in my app is to support more custom recipes. And so that means rethinking some of the data that I've got in the app, and then how it animates, how it progresses. And so that's kind of the bulk of what I spent today on, was just trying to figure out what are the next steps for the app, how do the recipes need to function, and try to nail it down. And I still have a little bit more work to do to plan it out, but I think I've got a better starting point than I did before. And it's going to allow me to run more experiments like the one that we see here, because this was really cool to run, and just to run through that process of what does it take to follow a recipe, and then what are the flavor, and then like this one spoon technique. I've never done this before, and it totally changes my whole brew recipe. So if this was interesting, I hope you learned something. I am looking at trying to get this recipe into my current recipes. So currently I'm using Swift data, and I've got a basic setup. But in order to support some of this stuff, I can't do my hard-coded stuff. And so this has worked for myself over the years. It doesn't work for everyone else. And so I need to clean that up so that I can have more dynamic stages where you can have multiple pour stages, and that you can synchronize and sort of change the amounts of coffee. Like, a lot of people want to scale dynamically. In my app, when you are doing all of this, I am doing recalculations, so you can just sort of drag these sliders and it will change the amounts dynamically. For the water or the coffee, you can just go in and slide them. I hate using keyboards, so this app is all gesture based. And you can change the water ratio. You can even lock it so that it changes the other ratio. So if I lock the water weight, it's going to change a different amount. And so that's super useful as you are trying to figure out what recipe is going to work. And I think the easiest recipe is the simplest. And that's why I've done it for so long as I've done it. But now I want to try and use other coffee influencers' recipes in my app and get better results, because doing it on paper, it sort of works, but it lacks some of the guidance that I'm so used to in my own application. So if this was useful, if you're interested in publishing an app, I am going to be probably launching a little iPhone app publishing community, sort of talking about the experiences of all of this. So if that's interesting to you and you want to get notified about that, check out the link in the video down below or in the comments. I'll have a link to a sign up form, just an iPhone app publishing community, something that I plan to launch. But I just want to see if there's interest, if you're interested in doing something like this. One of my former students is working on a crochet app. It's a row counting app, and so it's been a really valuable exercise to just think about app name, subtitle, description, keywords, and then what features are the priority. And getting something on the App Store and then getting feedback from people, I think, is really beneficial. I'm probably going to launch Brew Coffee for free. I do have an email audience that I want to market to, but I'm probably going to look mostly for App Store reviews first before I start trying to monetize the app, as I'm still trying to figure out like what avenue is best. Is teaching? Is it an email course? Is it a subscription? What's going to work for my audience? So those are all things that I'm going to be figuring out in my iPhone app publishing community. And if that's something that's interesting to you, you can email me at paul@supereasyapps.com. I'll have a link for that in the description. And I'll also have a link for just a general interest form if you're interested in the iPhone app publishing community. Now, this is all subject to change, as I'm about to have a newborn this month. So if that goes well, I'll have more details. That might delay things. So this is kind of just an up in the air experiment. I don't know which direction it's going to go just yet. But if you're interested and you want to make progress on your own app and you want to get more users using your app, maybe you don't have a ton of downloads, we can talk about different ways that are working for me and working for other people at the forefront of the App Store for getting more downloads, getting user feedback, prioritizing the features that actually matter, and just being opinionated, because I think software works best when you're opinionated. I have specific opinions about coffee apps. I don't use any other coffee app except mine on a daily basis because I want to start a recipe without digging. And I don't want all the bells and whistles. I just want simplicity. And so sometimes that means being really opinionated about what goes into an app. All right. I'll catch you in the video. Thanks for watching and have a great day.